Now for a quick conversation, I'm now being joined by the head of entertainment at the nation's newspapers, Benga Bada. Many thanks for joining us on the program, Benga.
Thank you, Bidemi. Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome, you're welcome. Now, 8 nominations, 7 Nigerians, 1 South African. Do you think that being the lone candidate from South Africa can swing the decision in Tapelo's favor?
I do not think so. But again, you can't rule out everybody. I've not seen the film Skeleton Coast, but I've read and I've seen Sapelo, acting film. And I can't say, I can dare say that he is a good actor. So he stands a chance, with the Nigerians on that in that category. He stands a chance. But I've not seen his performance in that particular film. So I can't, say so much about his chances. However, I've seen the chances, I've seen the performances of the Nigerians on that category. So I can tell that it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Yes, it's definitely a tough one, and it's true that the movie has not been distributed in Nigeria. So I understand why it's difficult for you to speak to that particular nominee. But let's speak about the ones that we have all seen. Actor Femi Branch receives his first major awards nomination in over 35 years in the industry. How significant do you think this is for him?
I'm certain that Chief, as he loves to be called these days, is excited and elated that this is coming. It's no doubt that Femi Branch is one of Nigeria's best actors. He has proven time without numbers that he knows his onions, when it comes to delivering roles. He's done it from TV shows to TV series to regular films to YouTube films and all that. And it's shown consistently that he knows his onions. His performance in House of God is what the nomination. And I was particularly happy, when I saw the nomination and and it came. I think he has a good chance because we cannot take out the fact that he killed the role. I mean, that's the way the people say it these days. He killed that role in House of God. He killed the role of Basharuga. He elevated, if you've read the book, you would, it's more like him reliving, showing you exactly what you've read about Basharuga. He embodied the character, and I think that gives him a strong chance, to probably go away with the award.
Again, I agree with you, seeing how he personified a villain in a manner that made a lot of viewers fall in love with him. Let's turn our attention now to Gideon Okeke, who, unlike Femi Branch, is a regular nominee with 5 nominations already, even though he hasn't scored any win yet. This is his second in the Best Actor category. Do you suppose that this 5th time will be the charm for him?
Well, again, just like we discussed about Femi Branch, I can tell you that Gideon gave it all. Over the years, I found out that Gideon seemed to choose, the stories he wants to tell. And maybe he rejects some scripts and goes for some. But I can tell you that his performance in Tokumbo looked as if he has read the script and is like, this is a role I want people to see and understand the message because I will get into the role. From him being the driver to him being somebody who had lost it all, who is trying to get himself back and all that, the way he embodied the role, the character, just shows that he knows exactly what the audience wants from him. And with that, he killed the role. The film did very well on the streaming platform. It did on the streaming platform, which it was released. It did very well. I watched it 3 times, to be candid. I watched it 3 times, and over again, he kept on convincing me that he knows his audience. He knows his audience. And again, let's hope this time he goes home with the award. Let's hope so.
Well, I didn't watch Tokumbo 3 times, but I like how he matched the aura of his emotions with the body acting in the movie. And I kind of like how he's already daring to position himself as a symbol of action movies in Nollywood. It's still early days in that regard, but I think it's worth mentioning anyway. Now, moving on, let's talk about the chances of Buchi Franklin and Stan Nze, both young actors, even if Stan has been around for longer. Now, while Buchi got his nomination in an horror movie, Stan is going for the gong for his role in perhaps Nigeria's first major superhero movie, Suspicion. These are generally genres that are not strong in Nollywood. So the question is, I believe, can the strength of a genre be a factor in the final decision?
I honestly do not think so because with categories like best actor, from my understanding, it depends solely on how the actor was able, to interpret his role, to convince the judges, to convince the viewers and the audience of how best, he um, can 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 translate, the message in the film. I honestly feel, irrespective of the genre, the guys here have every chance, to win. There are obviously one person will win, but Stan Inze in Suspicion and Bucci Franklin in The Weekend, they stand a good chance of winning it, irrespective of the genre. And I honestly, and this is from me, I might be wrong, but I stand to be corrected. I honestly do not think the category, the best actor category, should be determined or should have any influence on the genre. It should be about the interpretation of role by the actor, how the actor was able to carry the role, deliver the message, to the audience, and convincingly at that to make the judge believe, no, this is money.
Many thanks again for your perspective and time. But before I ask you the final question, is there any other movie from this group that you have seen 3 times or even more?
Okay, so yes, I've seen Princess on the Hill. Princess on the Hill, it's more like a series, but it's a good one. Maybe because I have some kind of sentimental affection for Uncle Bimbo Manuel. It had Uncle Bimbo Manuel in it. It had FI Were in it, and a couple of other people. So Uncle Bimbo in Princess on a Hill is Uncle Bimbo would always deliver anytime, any day, and he did this convincingly. Uncle Bimbo walks with his 2 legs, obviously, but he had to sit on a wheelchair all through the movie because the character had no leg, like it's a disabled character who had to go about with the use of a wheelchair, and he was able to convince me like he was actually disabled. Yet you and I both know that Uncle Bimbo walks with his 2 legs. But again, it's left for the judges to determine who wins for the AMVCA 2025 Best Actor category.
Well, thank you for bringing in the veteran Bimbo Manuel into the conversation before we close. We also didn't mention Femi Adebayo and Lateef Adedimeji too because of time, but they are also worthy nominees for the prize. Now, I asked you about if there's any other movie you've seen repeatedly or 3 times or more times like you have seen Tokumbo because of Gideon Okeke many times. So does it mean that Gideon is like the person you're placing your bet on to win this category?
Okay, so you know what? Without being partial, I said, I mean, all the actors here, aside from Tapelo, whom I do not have a relationship with. I have a relationship with all other nominees, and I have to be sincere with you. I can't specifically say this is who I want to win, because they all gave their best to their roles. Are we going to talk about Femi Adebayo in Seven Doors? It had the whole Nigeria talking. It had the whole um, audience across, even those in the United States, those in the UK, those in Canada, talking about his performance in Seven Doors. Are we going to talk about Lateef Adedimeji for his role in Lishabi? A deeply rooted film, a deeply rooted story, such that, I mean, every person from Southwest Nigeria, Yoruba, can relate with the story, especially those from Abeokuta, Ogun State, can relate with the story. Is it about how he carried, the role and all that? Maybe a couple of people would have different thoughts about the second season and all that, about the Lishabi film, but overall, he gave it his all. So literally, they all give me that. I can't particularly pitch my tent to a particular nominee. So I wish them all, but I have to say that about Tokumba because honestly, Tokumba and Seven Doors, I watched them multiple times. I loved the films, I loved the theme, and I loved the characters and how the roles were being interpreted. And that's why I watched them several times.
So the long and short of all this, your long answer is that you're not sticking out your neck to predict a winner. It's fine. It's fine. We'll take what you have given us. Many thanks again for joining us on the show today. Again, Benga Bada, the head of entertainment at the nation's newspapers.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you for always having me here. Thank you so much.